So today, if you have blocks, go ahead and grab those. If you don't, that's okay. Have your strap if you have one, and if you don't have one, that's okay. So today we'll work on a little bit of heart opening and mobility through the shoulders, mobility and strength through the shoulders, um, just to help through the last leg of winter. Um, yeah, so in your comfortable seat, let's start to soften. So any distractions around you, kind of just be aware of them and allow that to land as a part of this experience. You can start to look down to the ground, maybe even your eyes close. And just take a few natural breaths here. Start to feel into how your spine feels in space and notice if you're leaning forward or back. And let's start to invite some length to the spine, like someone's pulling the crown of the head with a string, and feel that heaviness through the hips. Notice if there's any tension in your shoulders, your jaw, your face. And with the next couple of exhales, see if those can slowly start to release. You might even unhinge your jaw, open and close your mouth a few times. And start to bring your attention to your belly. And let's actually bring one hand to the belly, one hand to the heart. And start to just notice how this feels. What information are you getting from your hands on your body? And you might start to deepen your breath so that your belly softens outward toward your hand, and feel that sense of release, that hug towards center as you exhale. So we'll do that 3 more times, just gently inviting the breath all the way down to the bottom of the lungs and feeling a smooth exhale out. So let this be gradual. You don't have to take your biggest breath ever, but maybe just a gentle invitation. And you might start to bring to mind what brought you to your practice today, what brings you to the practice of yoga. And with that in mind, join me in the sound of 3 Brahmari breaths. Brahmari breath is the sound of Om with the lips pressed together the entire time. It's also known as the bee's breath. So take a full exhale out first, full inhale in to start. As you exhale, let your hands come away from your body. Blink your eyes open if they're closed. And start to uncross your legs the opposite way. So opposite leg in front. And hands on the knees will draw the heart forward in seated cow pose. As you exhale, round your spine, draw chin to chest. And move like this with your breath. You might even have a slightly audible breath by layering on Ujjayi Pranayama. That's like constriction of your throat, creating a whisper-like quality to your breath. We'll move like this 3 more rounds, inhaling and draw the heart forward. Maybe you can draw your shoulders back and down, and exhale. Feel that space between your shoulder blades widen as you lean back. You can traction your hands on your knees. And last time. I don't know if you can hear my little clicks in my hip, but maybe you're also feeling that same thing. All right, so inhale, bring yourself through center, uncross your legs, and make your way to hands and knees. From hands and knees, we'll start to drop the belly, look forward, cow pose on hands and knees, exhale, cow or cat pose. And you might start to move a little bit bigger with me. You can walk your hands one handprint forward, press your hips forward, and extend your hips, sit your hips toward your heels. And I guess that's hip flexion, not extension. So you know what I mean. So a few times, just gliding forward and back. Notice how your spine feels, how your hips feel. And eventually we'll start to add in circles. So as you sit your hips toward your heels, let's circle the hips over to the right. Inhale, heart forward, hips are centered. Exhale, sit your hips to the left and through child's pose. So we're drawing circles with the hips in space through this kind of child's pose to supported upward facing dog. And last time this direction. The next time you sit your hips back towards child's pose, circle over to the left. So hips circle over to the left, center, over to the right, and back. So 2 more times like that. See if the breath can continue to be smooth. And start to sit your hips toward your heels. Let your forehead rest down, child's pose. You can bend your elbows and let your forehead rest down. So just finding a comfortable place for your arms. And as we do a little bit more heart opening, I'll be inviting you to just take note of how different areas of your body feel. So since we're working with heart opening, pay attention to the back of your heart, so the back of your lungs as you breathe. And as you fill up the back of your lungs, notice where you feel expansion, what kinds of sensations are there, and feel that sense of feeling connected to the ground as you exhale. So you might do that 2 more rounds, feeling like you're breathing into the back of your lungs, inviting space, and exhale, release. Start to lift your forehead, walk your hands a little bit forward. You could even tent your fingertips and plug your shoulders into the sockets, and let's walk the hands to the right. As you walk your hands over to the right, your hands might leave your mat, and we'll sit the left hip back and down. You could even reach the left fingertips even more to that upper right corner. Eventually we'll soften through that effort. So let your forearms rest, forehead rest down, and breathe into your left lung. 2 more breaths. Start to lift your forehead, walk your hands through center and over to the left. Same thing here. You can feel that reach of the right fingertips over to the left as you sit your right hip back and down. Eventually start to soften the effort of your reach and just let yourself be heavy, forehead rest down. Breathe into your right lung. And start to lift your forehead up, walk your hands through center, And lift yourself back up to tabletop. And we'll start to walk the hands toward the knees, and we'll be on the knees for a little bit. So if you need to add in padding, go ahead and add that in right now. And I'm going to fix my screen real quick. So as you come to stand on your knees or add in your padding, we'll grab the strap as well. So grab your strap and just make sure that that's handy. And so first we're going to start by standing on the knees, circle the arms out and up. And as you exhale, reach your arms out and hinge at your hips, start to sit your hips back. So we'll be using a little bit of core here. And as you exhale, we'll rest the forehead down. We'll basically be in child's pose with the hands behind the back. So see what that feels like for you to just be here. And we'll take an inhale, lift up. So we'll flow in and out of these two poses. So as you inhale, press into your shins, activate your core a little bit, circle your arms out and up, and reach up. So we'll do that 2 more times. So exhale with control, hinge at the hips, reach your arms out, bring your hands behind your back, rest your forehead down, and inhale, lift all the way up. So you might have this sense of noticing the rotation in your shoulders. So we're rotating the shoulders even as we're coming down. And next time you inhale, let's rise up. So just notice how the shoulders have to rotate in their sockets so that your hands face one another as you reach up. And bring your hands to heart center and sit on your heels for a moment. We can go ahead and grab that strap and take it in front of you taut. So we'll see how this goes. I might have to do a little variation for myself this morning, but take your strap in front of you, we'll pull it taut and have it maybe a little wider than shoulder width, so your hands are wider than your shoulders. As you take an inhale, we'll lift all the way up and reach your arms back to that kind of sweet spot where you feel a little bit of resistance, and keep pulling your hands apart. And exhale, sit the hips down towards your heels. So we'll do that 2 more times. Inhale, keep pulling the strap, reach up, maybe back a little bit, and exhale, lower. And last time. Inhale, keep the strap taut, reach your arms up and back, feel that resistance, openness through the chest, and exhale, lower down. And start to find a different seat. So sit on your butt so that you can be nice and sturdy on the ground. And this is something I just learned, so hopefully it goes well. Place your right hand on the ground, and your left hand will be somewhere in front of you, and I'll just show you what we're doing. So we're taking an inhale, finding a side bend. So we're just experimenting with the same side bend we did in child's pose, and exhale, draw the left hand in front of you. So you can adjust your strap length if you feel like you want a little more sensation. The space between your hands will be less. So let's actually do this 4 times instead. So exhale, put your left arm down. Inhale, reach your left arm forward and up to your side bend. And last time. And lift it up and over. Feel that sense of pull, feel openness, and then lower it down. And we'll switch sides. You can even keep the strap the same tautness. And inhale, lift that right arm up to the sky. So left hand is down, right arm lifts, and exhale, lower. So it's like we're drawing ourselves into a side bend, maybe even a sense of a twist as we roll the right ribs under the left. And 2 more times. Use your inhale to lift that left arm up, feel that resistance with your strap, and exhale, lower it down. And last time. Inhale, lift, and exhale, lower. Release your strap, move it off to the side, and roll over your knees. Roll over to your knees. Take an inhale, cow pose, tuck the toes. Exhale, lift the hips, downward facing dog. Press through your knuckles and keep your knees as bent as you need to. Focus more on draping your torso towards your thighs. You could even bend one knee and the other if you feel called to. So just a few breaths, feeling into movement or stillness. Keep dragging your shoulder blades down your back. 2 more breaths. And start to ripple yourself forward into plank pose. From plank pose, lower your knees down, lower your hips toward your heels, child's pose. And take a couple of breaths here. So we'll start to be flowing in and out of a few different shapes. So you can watch me if you want to. Start to tuck your toes and lift your seat up so that your knees are lifted. Lift your hips up, downward facing dog. Exhale, shoulders over wrists, plank pose. So we'll do that a couple of times. So from plank pose, bend your knees, sit your hips to your heels, and lift your hips up to the sky, downward facing dog. So just a couple of times like that. Plank pose on your exhale. Start to bend your knees, tilt your tailbone up like you're in cow pose, and lift that tailbone to the sky, downward facing dog. Last time. Shoulders over wrists, plank pose. Bend your knees, sit your hips to your heels, and lift your hips to the sky, downward facing dog. 2 breaths. Keep drawing your shoulders away from your ears. And look to your hands, bend your knees, take a walk forward to fold. Grab hold of opposite elbows, maybe you sway side to side. Whatever you're doing, your head is like a bobblehead in space. Your neck is relaxed. Two more deep breaths, like you could breathe into your hamstrings. And release your elbows, start to bend your knees, and take a slow roll up, like we're a nice dramatic roll up, head comes up last. And find Tadasana, mountain pose. Inhale, circle the arms out and up. Exhale, reach your arms out and hinge at the hips, fold forward. Halfway lift, fingertips to shins, lengthen your spine. Exhale, fold. Step your right foot back, runner's lunge, drop the right knee down. Scissor your thighs together, reach your arms forward and up. Low crescent lunge, Anjaneyasana. And settle in here. We'll take a couple of breaths just to feel what your hips feel like today. Keep drawing pubic bone to belly button. Left knee over left ankle. 1 breath. And exhale, plant your hands down. Step back, plank pose. And from plank pose, start to bend your knees, lift your hips, downward facing dog. So just like what we did with the child's pose, 2 times like that. So ripple into plank pose, bend the knees, sit the hips toward the heels, downward facing dog. So 1 more time like that. Ripple forward, plank pose, bend the knees, sit the hips to the heels, lift the hips, downward facing dog. Lift that right leg up to the sky, 3-legged dog, hips are square. That right heel presses back. And exhale, draw knee to nose, step the right foot forward, runner's lunge. Drop the left knee down and reach your arms forward and up, Anjaneyasana. Settle in, soften your shoulders, breathe. And we'll exhale, plant the hands down, step forward and fold. Halfway lift to inhale. Exhale, fold. Press into your feet, circle your arms out and up, reach up, and exhale, hands to heart center. So second time, we'll move 1 breath with each pose. So we'll move a little faster. Inhale, reach your arms up. Exhale, fold. Halfway lift as you inhale. Exhale, fold. Step that left foot back, runner's lunge. Drop the left knee down. Reach yourself all the way up. Anjaneyasana. Exhale, plant your left hand down. Lift your right arm up. Find a twist. Exhale, lower the right hand down and step back, downward facing dog. We'll ripple the spine forward, plank pose. This time, lower your knees down and lower all the way to your belly. Bring your arms out at a V. So normally we have hands by the ribs. This time, we'll walk them out at diagonals and tent your fingertips. Forehead rests down, tops of your feet are down. Use your inhale to peel your heart up, press into your fingertips, lift your heart up, and exhale, lower down. And last time like that, inhale, lift up, stay up, drop your right shoulder down and look over your left shoulder. Yeah, so we're dipping the right shoulder down, look left, inhale through center, exhale, dip the left shoulder down, look right, and inhale through center, lower your belly down. Hands right by your ribs, push up plank, on or off the knees, and downward facing dog. Lift the hips. Start to drag that left heel up and back, three-legged dog, and exhale, step it forward. Runner's lunge, drop the right knee down, reach your arms forward and up, Anjaneyasana. Exhale, plant your right hand down, left arm reaches up, find your twist. Exhale, left hand down, tuck your right toes, step forward and fold. Halfway lift to inhale, exhale, fold, press into your feet, rise up, and bring hands to heart center, Tadasana, hands down by your sides. Take just a couple of breaths to notice what that feels like. Notice the effects of the sun salutation or Surya Namaskara, and we'll bring hands back to heart center. Bring your attention to your feet and your legs. Breathe your heart into your thumbs, and on your exhale, sit your hips back, squeeze your thighs together, chair pose. Chair pose. So you can go as low as you want to. I'm going to stay up a little higher today, but maybe you sit your hips back. Take a couple of breaths here. And as you exhale, hinge forward and fold. Step your right foot back, warrior one legs. So warrior one, the right foot is planted on the ground. Toes are at a 45-ish degree angle. Scissor your thighs together and we'll reach the arms out and up, warrior one. Nice. So as you reach up, draw that left hip crease back, right hip crease forward. Just notice what that feels like. And reach your arms behind you and grab either opposite elbow or your opposite hand. If you choose to grab your hands, just make sure that your shoulders can draw toward one another. But if you're grabbing opposite elbow, same thing. Shoulder blades draw together. We're hugging the hip points towards the lower ribs. So the core is engaged. And see if your toes wanting to grip the ground. Let's let those be soft. 2 more breaths. When you're ready to let go, release with control. Sweep your arms out to the sides and up. Exhale, plant your hands down. Runner's lunge. You can lift your right heel. Halfway lift in your runner's lunge. Exhale, step back, plank pose. And lower down, knees, chest, chin. Inhale, low cobra. You can draw your shoulder blades together. Exhale, lower. Press into your hands. Lift up, downward facing dog. Start to drag that right heel up and back. 3-legged dog. Exhale, step forward, runner's lunge. In your runner's lunge, we'll find a little halfway lift. So that just means fingertips are tented. Crown of the head is pulled forward as that left heel drags back. So like your nice long arrow. Take an inhale and exhale. Step the left foot forward and fold. Halfway lift to inhale. Exhale, fold. Press into your feet, rise up, and bring hands to heart center. Chair pose, Utkatasana, sit the hips back. Squeeze your thighs, Squeeze an invisible block between your thighs. And exhale, fold. Step your left foot back, warrior one. So left foot steps back, left foot's planted down. Scissor your thighs together and rise up your way. For more core challenge, you'll reach your arms out or forward. And nice strong legs will lift you up. Reach your arms back and find the non-dominant forearm or thumb on top. So forearm, that feels weird on top. Shrug your shoulders back and down. Hug that core in. And maybe get a little deeper in the legs. Soften your jaw. The breath is smooth and silky here. Release your hands, reach your arms out and up. Plant your hands down. Runner's lunge. Feel that sense of length in the spine. And step back. Plank pose, downward facing dog. Your way, that can mean lifting the hips. If you want to do knees, chest, chin, this time try lifting up to upward facing dog. So press into your hands, lift the hips, lift the thighs, and then roll over the toes, downward facing dog. So just a few variations. You're always welcome to stick with one that's really familiar to you. Lift the left heel up and back, and exhale, step it forward. Runner's lunge, feel your halfway lift, scissor your thighs together. Legs are still strong. Step the right foot forward and fold. Halfway lift to inhale, fingertips to shins. Exhale, fold. Inhale, reach your arms out and up. And bring your hands to heart center and down. A few breaths to just feel any shifts. And bring your hands back to heart center. Start to fix your gaze on an unmoving point. Set your gaze as you lift your right knee to chest. So single leg Tadasana, notice what it's like to channel that energy into balance. And we'll step it back, warrior one. So right foot plants down, arms will reach up. Take a moment here and we'll find that reach of the arms back again. And take an inhale here. You can shrug the shoulders back and down. Hug pubic bone to belly button. And start to heel toe. Heel toe that left foot out wide. Take an inhale and exhale. Hinge forward at the hips for humble warrior. So only go as far as feels interesting. We're kind of finding an interesting balance here. So we're keeping the legs super strong and active. It's almost like you're resisting dumping into this pose. Take an inhale, lift yourself all the way up. Reach your arms out and up. As you exhale, plant your hands down to the inside of that left foot and drop your right knee down. So we're in lizard pose. Hands can be on the ground. Maybe you're on fists if you need more height. Take an inhale here. As you exhale, start to bend at the hips and straighten that left leg. So left leg straight and flex the left foot. Inhale, walk your hands forward, draw your heart forward into this lizard pose. So 2 more times like that. Exhale, sit back, take your time. If you have blocks or some sort of height, you can add that in. But last time, we'll sit back and maybe just find a few breaths here. So you'll notice my fingertips are tented just so that I can add height. Someone's pulling a string at the crown of my head. So spine is nice and tall. 1 more breath. Start to bend that left knee. Tuck the right toes. You can heel toe the left foot in if that feels better. And step back, downward facing dog. Lift that right heel up and back, 3-legged dog. Step it forward. Runner's lunge. Feel an active runner's lunge. Lengthen the spine. Exhale, step forward and fold. Halfway lift to inhale. Exhale, fold. Start to airplane your arms back. Bend your knees a lot. And sweep your arms forward and up for chair pose. Hands can always come to heart center if you need. Chair pose. And press into your feet, straighten the legs, reach your arms up, and bring hands to heart center. Second side, set your gaze, your drishti, lift your left leg, single leg Tadasana. Take a breath, appreciating the balance, and step back. Warrior one, reach your arms up, and reach your arms behind you. So opposite grasp of the elbows. Feel that drawing of the shoulder blades back as your core stays engaged. Heel toe that right foot out to the right, so we're widening the stance. Take an inhale and exhale. Hinge forward and fold. Humble warrior. Again, even if we're kind of adding a little bit of weight to the legs, still add that sense of drawing your right hip crease back. Taylor, can your head be more facing forward to the top of your mat? Is that possible? Yeah, you might have to make your left foot angled towards the top of your mat a little bit. Yeah. Yeah, so your left hip is still pointing forward. Does that work? Yeah. Cool. So just stay there a couple of breaths and we'll lift all the way up. Release your arms when you're ready. Lift yourself up. Take control. Take control. Reach up. Have control. And exhale. Plant your hands down to the inside of that right leg and drop the left knee down. So same thing here. Hands can be on fists or tented fingertips if you need more space. Take an inhale. Exhale. Sit the hips back. Straighten-ish that right leg. So 2 times. Draw the heart forward. Exhale, sit the hips back. And last time. As we sit the hips back, find that length in the spine. We'll hold here a couple of breaths. Breath stays flowing. Keep drawing your right hip crease back. So we do that to keep the hips square and to actually activate what's going on in the leg. Plant the right foot down, rebend the knee, and step back, downward facing dog. Start to drag that left heel up and back, 3-legged dog. Step forward, runner's lunge. Find that active halfway lift in your runner's lunge. And step forward and fold. Halfway lift to inhale, Ardha Uttanasana. Exhale, fold, Uttanasana. Bend your knees, sweep your arms back, airplane your arms back, and sweep your arms forward, chair pose. Squeeze your thighs together, press in your legs, reach your arms up, and bring hands to heart center and down. Couple of breaths. I'm going to just double check time, make sure we're good. And we are good. Okay, so start to face the long edge of your mat. Doesn't matter which side, we'll do both. So face the long edge of your mat and bring hands to heart center. Option to walk out wide or jump out wide. So we're like a star. Reach your arms out and start to bend that right knee. Make your way to warrior two with the right knee over the right ankle. And bring your right knee to the pinky toe side of that foot. Reach your arms out. Flip your palms to the sky and press through that right heel and straighten that right leg as we reach the arms up. Exhale, palms face the ground as you press the air down and bend that right knee. So 2 more times like that. Inhale, reach up. Exhale, press the air down, reach your arms out, warrior two. Nice. Inhale, last time. Exhale, warrior two. Flip your palms to the sky, keep your legs the way they are, and we'll tip back, peaceful warrior. Take a breath here. Exhale, side angle. Right forearm to right thigh, left arm reaches up and over. Keep pressing through your left heel or right heel and your left foot. Start to lift yourself up, warrior two. Start to straighten that right leg, reach the right fingertips forward, triangle pose. Reach the left arm up. Right hand rests somewhere on the right leg. And just like we did, you can think about what we did with the strap when we were seated. This is sort of like rolling the right ribs under the left. It's not really a side bend, but that kind of idea. While we're here, start to bend that right knee and make your way to side angle. So same thing here, you can rest the forearm on the thigh, but keep it light. So the core is still active. We're not dumping weight into that arm ever. And lift your way up, warrior two. Straighten that right leg, pivot your toes to face the left side of your mat. Reach your arms up. And as you exhale, bring your hands to hips, hinge forward, soften your knees, and fold. Halfway lift as you inhale, exhale, fold. Notice the differences between left and right sides, if there are any. Start to bring your heels in, toes out, bend your knees, bring your right hand to right thigh, left hand to left thigh, and roll yourself up, supported goddess squat. So with your hands on your thighs, we'll take an inhale through center, exhale, dip the right shoulder down, look left. And take a couple of breaths here. Inhale through center, exhale, dip right shoulder down, or left shoulder down, sorry, look right. And if you feel like you need to do this more in movement, go ahead and do that. So you can switch sides. Depending on how fast you're going, we'll do each side 1 or 2 times. So inhale, center, dip the shoulder down. All right, after you've looked over to your right for the last time, inhale yourself through center. Lift your spine up so we're in more of a goddess squat. Arms will cactus. Yeah, so head's right above the hips. Reach your arms out at a T and exhale, cross the right arm under the left and grab either your opposite shoulders or grab opposite hands if you can do the double bind. But whatever you do, keep the knees pressing back. Forearms press forward, tailbone scoops down. 2 more breaths. And when you're ready, press into your legs, straighten the legs, reach your arms or unwind your arms and reach them up, star pose. Exhale, warrior two, the right foot in front, cartwheel your hands down, and step back, downward facing dog. Option to move through your flow if you want to, that's shifting forward, plank pose, maybe lowering your knees, chest and chin down. Lion cobra, or upward facing dog. And exhale, lift the hips, downward facing dog. Look to the hands, bend the knees, walk, step, or hop forward. And halfway lift to inhale. Exhale, fold. Bend your knees, sweep your arms back, then forward. Chair pose to stand. And hands to heart center. Yeah, so face the long side of your mat. Make sure that whatever you're doing, we're gonna do the left side, so make sure that your left foot is what's to the camera. So inhale through center, exhale, walk, step, or hop out. Exhale, warrior two to the left. So turn your toes, left toes to the left, reach your arms out. Keep drawing that left knee to pinky toe side of the left foot. Keep hugging your hip points to your rib points as you reach your arms out. Flip your palms up. Press into that left heel as you reach your arms up overhead. Straighten the left leg. Exhale, bend the left knee. Reach your arms out, warrior two. So 2 more times like this. Just inhaling to reach, exhaling to rebend. So hopefully this is feeling something interesting in your left hamstring. And after your last time in warrior two, we'll find a hold here. Flip your palms to the sky, tip back, peaceful warrior. Exhale, left forearm to left thigh, side angle. Keep pressing through the knife edge of that right foot as you reach yourself up, warrior two. Straighten that left leg, reach the left fingertips forward, drop the left hand down, right arm up, triangle pose. So again, it's not so much about how low you're going as it is about keeping a nice Tadasana spine as you hinge at your hip. Nice. Start to re-bend that left knee. You can bring left forearm to left thigh if you want to. So we're in side angle. You can reach your right fingertips forward. Keep the weight on that left forearm light so your core is active. And lift up, warrior two. Straighten that left leg. Pivot your toes over to your right side of your mat. Star pose. Exhale, hands to hips, hinge forward and fold. Halfway lift to inhale, lengthen the spine. Exhale, fold. Take a couple of breaths, let the head be heavy. And we'll bring heels in, toes out. Bring your left hand to left thigh, right hand to right thigh. Roll yourself up, goddess squat. This time we'll go right into that upright version. So cactus your arms, heads right above the hips. Reach your arms out. This time left arm is under the right. So either give yourself a hug or find the bind of your hands. Sit your hips down and feel your tailbone scoop under. So pubic bone hugs to your belly button. Nice. One more breath. Press into your heels. Unwind your arms. Reach your arms up. Star pose. Exhale, warrior two to the front of your mat or to your left foot and cartwheel your hands down. Step back, downward facing dog. Last opportunity for you to add in a flow if you want to. But once you get to downward facing dog, we'll lower the knees down, hips to the heels, child's pose. You can have any arm variation you like, either reaching the arms forward, or you could even be in more of an embryo shape, hands close to your heels, draping your shoulders toward the mat. And just like we did at the beginning of practice, you might notice how your breath feels, any shifts that have happened for you so far. And take a moment, walk your hands forward if they were not there already. Lift yourself up to tabletop, and we'll walk the hands back and stand on your knees. So one last heart opener that we'll do in practice. Standing on your knees, bring your hands behind you. Fingertips will face toward your seat and draw your shoulder blades together. Elbows draw toward one another. Yeah, so we're not out here, we're squeezing it all in. If this feels super accessible and you want to add on some sensation, you can flip your fingertips to face upward towards your shoulder blades. And you can just try that for a moment. If this is feeling like not great on your wrists or forearms for any reason, you'll just do that first one we did. Okay, take an inhale here. Draw your shoulder blades together. Still hug your hip points toward your rib points. Take a breath in. Exhale, lean back. So we're pressing the hips forward, actually. So think more of pressing the hips forward rather than leaning back. We are never going to drop the head back. So the neck is still supported in space as you draw your elbows, shoulder blades together. Yeah. Soften your jaw, even soften the grasp of your glutes. One more breath here. And start to stack your spine. Take your time. And sit your hips toward your heels. So that's camel pose or Ustrasana. Nice big heart opener through the chest. And just notice the effects of that. Heart openers can be really energizing. If you're, yeah, okay. It's hard to see you. I'm like, is he still grasping? Just let your hands rest. Yeah. And we'll stand on the shins and do that round 2. So hands behind you. Same thing. We're rolling the shoulders up, back, and down. Elbows draw towards one another. Ooh, yes. Okay, squeeze your shoulder blades together. Press your hips forward and lean back. Yeah. So we're still scooping that tailbone down and under. One more breath here. Soften your jaw. Keep breathing. And start to restack your spine. And sit your hips towards your heels. A few breaths here. And start to walk your hands forward. Child's pose again. Feel the sense of rounding. Two more breaths. And start to lift yourself up to tabletop. Draw your right knee to right wrist and shimmy your right shin forward. So we're getting ready for half pigeon. If for any reason this doesn't feel good on your knees, take figure 4 on your back. So lengthen that left leg behind you. And since we've done so much heart opening, I want to stay upright for a little bit. Maybe you're tenting your fingertips on the ground and feeling that sense of openness through the chest. Take a breath here. So usually we just kind of flop forward. We keep hugging your pubic bone to your belly button. 2 more breaths. And as you exhale, we'll start to hinge at the hips and fold forward. You can rest on your forearms. A few breaths, feeling into that right hip. Two more breaths here. When you're ready to exit, take a few breaths, press into your hands, lift yourself back upright first, and then start to make your way back to tabletop. Feel free to wiggle it out. You can move through cat and cow or any intuitive movement. You can have your hips crack like mine. And when you're ready, left knee to left wrist, shimmy that left shin forward, drag that right leg back. Yeah. We'll stay upright. So again, you can feel that sense of activating the legs as you press into your fingertips, lift yourself up. And if you have blocks and you're watching this later, your hands can always be on blocks. And when you're ready, start to hinge forward, walk your hands forward, and fold forward as far as feels comfortable for you. You can rest on your forearms. Your forearms could be lifted on a block. Notice where you can soften here. You might do a little experiment and see what muscles are absolutely necessary to hold you in this pose and what muscles aren't. Usually, activity in the jaw, shoulders, face isn't needed to be in this pose. Continue to be aware of your breath. As we slow down, the breath is really your anchor to the practice. Two more breaths on this side. To exit, press your hands down. Remove any props. Bring your left knee back. And take any movement that would feel helpful, maybe cat and cow or any variation of that. Eventually, we'll start to sit down on one hip, swing the legs around, and take a slow roll back. So you can take as slow of a roll as you want back. Maybe if you want to add in a little bit more core awareness or activity, you'll go super, super slow. Eventually, start to hug knees to chest. Give yourself a rock side to side. Plant your feet back down on the ground. Reach your arms out at a T and shift your hips over to the left. So we're lifting the hips, shifting them to the left, and then dropping the knees to the right. So finding a twist, knees to the right. You could even lift your head and turn it to look to your left fingertips and invite your breath down to your belly. That left shoulder blade will just be heavy toward the mat. Release any tension there. Three deep breaths into your belly. Start to lift your gaze to the center. Draw your knees through center and set your feet back down. Shift your hips over to the right and drop your knees to the left. So finding a twist. And I like to do that shift just because for my body, I find that it helps keep the spine in line. If that's not true for you, just adjust yourself accordingly. An option to lift your head and shift to the gaze over to the right fingertips. And then just start to release all of your effort. Invite your breath deep into your belly. Three more deep breaths. And start to bring your knees through center. You can straighten your hips on your mat, hug knees to chest. And any final poses you want to do, maybe happy baby. You can grab your shins or your ankles or your feet. Maybe just legs up the wall. Eventually, we'll all meet in Shavasana. So, legs extended long, palms face the ceiling. If your low back is talking to you, something under the knees can be helpful, rolled blanket or bolster, or you could even bend your knees, knock your knees together, plant your feet on the ground. Once you get to wherever you will be, start to check into your body. If it feels comfortable, you might even just have your arms resting by your sides. Palms can face the sky. And start to bring your awareness to your entire back body on your mat. Notice the imprint of your body on the ground. And see if you could imagine that gravity is pressing on your body, helping you release any of muscles that are trying to do any work at all. And feel that your imprint grows a little deeper. Feel free to stay as you are for as long as you'd like to. If and when you feel inclined to start moving, allow a deep breath to fill your lungs. Feel the smoothness of your exhale. Eventually, that breath could inspire small movements in your body that eventually grow larger. Eventually, you could roll onto one side where you might find a few rounds of breath, taking a moment of transition before pressing yourself up to your seat. As you make your way upright, bring your spine nice and tall, keep your gaze soft. And just as we began, bring one hand to your heart, one hand to the belly. Bring to mind your intention, your dedication for practice, and we'll seal our practice with a single Om together. Take a full inhale. Bowing our heads to our hearts, we honor the practice we've done today. May our practice bear fruit, and may that fruit benefit all beings everywhere. Thank you for joining in. Appreciate you, and I hope you have a great rest of your week. And take care.